Stop blaming your family for your holiday weight gain. You know exactly who pushes your buttons. But your triggers, they're not about them. They're about how you respond. And if you're a high achieving, career driven woman who is already over the drama and you refuse to start January in this hangover full of food regret, you need to hear this. I'm Holly Bertone. I've helped hundreds of women break emotional eating patterns, and every holiday season, the exact same predictable triggers take them down. I used to analyze counterintelligence patterns as the FBI's chief of staff. And now I show women just like you how to outsmart your own emotional landmines. Because if you don't have a plan, those triggers are going to show up on the scale. And in this episode, you're going to get the 5 ways your family drama and holiday triggers can cause real weight gain, and the 5 simple steps to just shut it down so you can stay in control. This time of year can be really triggering, from family members talking way too much politics or making you feel obligated to eat this special pie that they baked. It all adds up. And by that, I mean these triggers over the next 6 weeks, they can actually cause you to eat more comfort food, which then is going to cause the weight gain. And it's due to more than just the extra indulgence this time of year. There's actually 5 common triggers you may experience this holiday season that's going to pack on the pounds. You're going to understand the psychology behind these triggers, and you're also going to get 5 simple steps that you can take today to help make the holidays a little more peaceful and a lot less triggering. There's a million different reasons why you might get triggered this holiday season, which causes you to go right for the comfort food and then overeat and binge eat and emotionally eat. So here are the top 5 that I see. Number 1, politics is always a big one, and these days it's the biggest one. There's always that one uncle that just can't keep his mouth shut. Number 2, let's say you've been making progress with your weight loss and you're at your parents' house, and the second you walk in, your mom just starts pushing food on you. I made your favorite pie. Here, have a piece. I worked all day on this. And usually there's a guilt trip or some kind of snide comment about your weight. Or maybe you're dealing with grieving the loss of a loved one, or it's a recent divorce, and you just don't even want to celebrate this season. Number 4, another trigger might be that your sister's always questioning your eating habits or what you're feeding your kid. Or maybe your family just loves to dote on that one sibling who's the successful one that has it all. And then number 5, I'm going to give you one more. That is the perfectionist trap. So let's say you're hosting. Let's say your mother-in-law always criticizes the food you make, and you feel like you are never going to live up to her standards. And you might be thinking, yeah, Holly, those triggers are legit. But what does this have to do with me gaining weight? We're going to dive into the 5 ways being triggered by your family and friends can actually cause weight gain. And then you're going to end with the 5 simple steps that you can do today to help make the holidays a little more peaceful. Number 1 way that being triggered can actually cause weight gain. Number 1 is increased unhealthy food consumption when you are in big emotions. Many women, they lean on food as a coping mechanism to comfort them when they're emotional, when they're stressed, under any circumstance. And now we've got the holidays and the family interactions, and it makes it worse. This time of year, it brings up all these unresolved family tensions and these old wounds and these feelings of inadequacy. When we're around people who agitate us or frustrate us, our first instinct is to reward ourselves for getting through the family drama. So we go right to the seasonal cookies and the candy that are full of sugar and calories. This is how we self-soothe. And we do this at these high volumes over the holidays. Not to mention the sweets and treats, they are everywhere during the holiday season. So the second we get stressed or agitated or upset, there is going to be a bowl of holiday mini candy bars or a plate of cookies or a bundle of candy canes within 3 feet of where we're standing. They're all over the counters at home, and then you go to work and there's bowls of candy on everyone's desk and all the sweet treats in the break room. The American Psychological Association confirms this. In a report, they say stress related to family conflict can lead to weight gain over time because people under chronic stress, they prioritize quick, calorie-dense foods. Inside my signature program, the Break Emotional Eating Accelerator, you go through a proven 3-step process, and it's called See It, Stop It, Shift It, which helps you to not just be aware of why you're emotionally eating, but you also look at the patterns to get to the root cause. And once you know why, it is so much easier to make these shifts and then to focus on what to eat instead of having this emotional response. Number 2, family and peer pressure and expectations and traditions around food. Family gatherings, they're always around food. And then there's this peer pressure, this family pressure to participate in the traditional meals and the treats. And many of these foods, they are not healthy. This is the time of year, especially, we celebrate with indulgent food. And it can be challenging to say no without feeling like you're disappointing your favorite aunt who spent all day in the kitchen making her famous pie. There was a study done by Cornell University. They found that people consume an average of 35% more food when they eat with other people, and particularly in family gatherings where emotional triggers can be heightened and this food pushing is common. So during family events, there's direct or sometimes indirect to indulge, to overindulge, to eat the food. You want to fit in. You want to celebrate with everyone. It's a special occasion. It comes once a year. So you don't say no to seconds. And quite honestly, you don't want to deal with the confrontation. There was a 2018 study published in Appetite, and they found that people tend to conform to the eating behaviors of those around them, particularly in family settings. These social and these family pressures, they lead people to consume more food than they would if they were eating alone. This can add to holiday weight gain. Number 3, it's the all or nothing mindset. And I'm guessing in years past, you've said, oh, I've totally blown it. I'm just going to start over in January. Did you know 1/3 of Americans put their diet plans on hold during the holiday season? And honestly, I feel like the other third aren't even on a diet at this point. This all or nothing mindset, it is so common in the holidays, and especially after you overindulge, and especially after saying yes to the seconds and yes to the desserts, and especially after the family drama and the triggers. It is so much easier to just say screw it, or a more colorful word. Just say screw it. It's the holidays. I'm already on this path. I'm just going to enjoy myself, to treat myself. There's only a few more weeks left in the year. And then I promise, I pinky swear, I'm going to reset. I'm going to just start all over in January when life calms down. How many times have you said that? When life calms down, when things calm down. When you think about a traditional diet, it is restrictive. You are counting calories. There's absolutely no way you can keep it up over the holidays. There's no way you would want to keep it up over the holidays. But what if, instead of dieting, you actually created a version of yourself who eats healthy, who has a healthy relationship with food, and that is effortless? Which one of these do you think is going to have the long-term results? The one who's restrictive and starving, or the one who just does this naturally, just like brushing your teeth every day? When you can focus on changing your relationship with food, you change your relationship with yourself. Food no longer becomes this 24/7 obsessive pull. When you can shift to a healthier lifestyle of how you eat, that's when it can become effortless. When it is effortless, that's when it's predictable. And when it's predictable, that's when it becomes sustainable. So chances are what you really want is sustainability. Because do you want sustainability or do you want another diet? Number 4, increased cortisol. Family tensions and holiday stress, they cause a spike in cortisol. This is the stress hormone. This is linked to increased appetite and cravings for these high-calorie, high-fat foods. chronic stress also encourages the fat storage, and especially around the midsection. When you look at stress, nutrition, and exercise, these are the three needle movers. This is a game of rock, paper, scissors. Stress is always going to win over nutrition and exercise. Because when you are under chronic stress, you're either going to gain weight or it is going to be next to impossible to lose weight, even if your nutrition and your exercise is totally dialed in. But here's the thing. What do the quote unquote experts tell us to do when we're stressed? Self-care. Let me ask you this. Okay, let's say you go to that 90-minute massage. You actually get the extra 30 minutes and you do 90 instead of 60. And you get back into your car. You're so relaxed. Your body's like, oh, I feel so good. You do not have a care in the world. But then what happens? You start your car, you look at the phone, and in that instant, the weight of the world is right back on your shoulders. I mean, yeah, the massage was great, but if you're not addressing your stress at the root cause, if you are not actively regulating your nervous system, that stress is going to continue to spike your cortisol. And those belly rolls are not going to go away. Number 5, last one, restless nights and minimal exercise. You've got holiday stress and you've got these increased emotions, and it's going to lead to poor sleep. Poor sleep affects your ghrelin and your leptin. These are your hunger and your fullness hormones. And that's going to lead to an increase in appetite. This is what is going to drive the overeating. So what happens? You don't get a good night's sleep. Do you wake up in the morning all chipper, ready to work out, eat a healthy breakfast? No, when you don't get a good night's sleep, you're going to hit the snooze button, you're going to skip your workout, and you're going to grab whatever sugary carb is closest to you for breakfast and a gallon of coffee or leftover pumpkin pie. And quick side tangent, for Thanksgiving back in the day, I used to make an extra pumpkin pie. I would hide it in the fridge and then I would eat it for breakfast the next morning and it would be covered in Cool Whip. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, they found that sleep-deprived individuals, they consume an average of 385 more calories per day than well-rested individuals. These calories are not healthy options. So to put this into perspective, this is about how many calories are in one slice of pepperoni pizza. When you add it up, this is 2,700 calories per week, which is basically a large pepperoni pizza. So in addition to consuming all of the extra holiday sweets and treats this season, the amount of food that you eat because you're not sleeping well and the stress and the family drama and the triggers is the equivalent of eating a large pepperoni pizza once a week on top of everything else. And I'm also guessing you're probably ordering for your family pizza once a week. So this is now 2 large pizzas a week. Are you starting to see it's not just one thing? It's the entire environment and it all feeds off of each other. Before we move on, I want to recap. There's 5 ways that the holiday triggers and family drama can cause the weight gain. Number 1, increased healthy food consumption from emotional stress and reward eating. Number 2 is family and peer pressure, the expectations and the traditions around food. Number 3 is the all or nothing mindset. Number 4 is increased cortisol. And then number 5 is restless nights and minimal exercise. Get ready because I call this part of the episode your game plan. I am going to tell you right now, this game plan is gonna ruffle some feathers. Number 1, the first thing to do when you feel yourself getting triggered, when you want to devour everything in sight, the first thing to do is to just take a pause. Take a moment and just acknowledge where you are. You are having a very natural human experience. So instead of diving into all the emotions, just become neutral. Your body is communicating something to you. You can look at it from the perspective of stimulus response. So you are currently experiencing a response and an out of proportion response to a stimulus. Number 2, put on the FBI hat. You knew I was going there. do some investigating, do some weight loss forensics, explore the trigger. Ask yourself, what specifically is this trigger about? Because all it is, it's stimulus response. So what is the stimulus that is causing this specific response? And what is that unmet need in the middle? What is that unmet expectation? If all you did was just these two, if all you did was just have awareness, and if all you did was have the awareness and explore the triggers, do you think that's going to help you create a different response instead of just diving headfirst into the Christmas cookies? This right here is one of the most powerful moves you can make. Number 3, this is where we're going to get into some spicy stuff. Let me ask you this. Have you ever thought about the perspective that everything you say and do is from your perspective? And if you are saying and doing what you think is right from your perspective, doesn't it make sense that everyone else is doing and saying what they think is right from their perspective? Yeah, but Holly, you don't understand. You don't understand what they said to me, what they did to me. And you're right, I don't understand. But what I do know is that every single client I've ever worked with over the years, every single client has found peace on the other side of forgiveness. When they choose to operate in forgiveness, they have found peace. And this is including peace on the other side of some pretty heavy stuff. Why is this important? Because on the other side of forgiveness, with the person or with the situation, it's inner peace themselves. Sometimes this feeling of inner peace, this is the first time these women have felt this in 30 years or 40 years. And once we can get to that place of this true inner peace, that's when the healing takes place. That's when these emotional eating triggers start to disappear. I've had clients say no to their family for the first time, or they didn't go to a family event because they did not want to be around a toxic family member who was there, and they had zero guilt. I've also had clients who were able to attend family events, and for the first time, they did not get triggered. And because they weren't triggered, they didn't eat everything in sight. You do not have to carry around this weight anymore. And I am talking about the weight of the emotional burdens that you have been carrying around for years. The weight around your midsection will never disappear until you address the emotional weight of the world on your shoulders. Let me ask you, what would it take to be in the mindset that everyone is showing up as their best self, even if it doesn't look like it, even if they're being a total jerky jerk, even if their behavior is completely inexcusable and unacceptable? And I get it, because it's hard to separate the person from the behavior. But when you can look at the behavior separate from the person, when you can look at the behavior from the perspective that this person has been deeply hurt, and the way that they counter that is to deeply hurt others. Or maybe they're not being heard. Maybe they're not being respected. And that is why they have this need to push an agenda. Whether that's politics or whether that agenda is pushing a second helping of dessert on your plate. And I want you to remember this. This is a quote from Chase Hughes, who I'm trained under. He says, "We use the pattern that controls us to control others." What would it look like to separate the person from the behavior? To view the behavior as completely unacceptable, and to view the person with compassion. Number 4, create a plan. Think about the conversations or the circumstances ahead of time. Especially around the holidays. The holidays, good news, bad news, holidays are predictable. It's the same food, the same family members, the same conversation. These are not going to change, but you can change. And I want you to practice what you're going to say. So if your uncle starts talking politics, what are you going to say? What are you going to do? If your mother-in-law is forcing you to eat that second piece of pie, what are you going to say? What are you going to do? And then create an exit plan, whether that's just taking a break from all of the peopling or leaving the event altogether. And I'll share this funny story with you. It's not a holiday story, but it's still very appropriate. A few years ago, I was in Sedona and I was at a friend's house. It was this enormous house, beautiful view of the mountains. And the house was full of some of the most amazing people on the planet. So absolutely nothing negative happened. Everything was positive. But it was a long night on top of a long day. And Holly Bertone's people meter was full. I was totally done peopling for the day. And I needed a break. So I looked around and I noticed that the trash can in the kitchen was full. So I took the trash, I tied up the bag, I took it out of the can, I put it in a corner in the kitchen. I looked under the sink and then I replaced it with a new trash bag. And then I grabbed a second trash bag and I walked around the party and I'm collecting all the plates and cups and anything that was, trash and could get thrown out. I literally gave myself a little job to do. And my friend stopped me. He totally called me out. He's like, Holly, what are you doing? You were a guest in my house. I didn't say anything, man. I just smiled and I just went about my business. No harm, no foul. So what is your game plan? What is your exit strategy? Practice this ahead of time. Rehearse this ahead of time. Before I get into the last one, if you found value from today's episode, I want you to hit that subscribe or follow button where you're watching or listening, because I don't want you to miss the next episode. And then finally, number 5, when you do get triggered, take radical responsibility for that trigger. That trigger is your responsibility. It does not matter what or who or how that emotional wound was caused in the first place. It does not matter who or what or how the trigger happened. There's no blame, there's no shame, there's no guilt. From this point forward, you have a decision to take full responsibility for it. Your trigger is your responsibility. It is no one else's. If you decide to blame someone or something for your trigger, you will never have the opportunity to grow and to heal from it. And it is almost always guaranteed to pop back up at an undetermined date and time. Working through these triggers in a safe container so that your body can feel safe is single-handedly one of, if not the most important factor when it comes to achieving weight loss that is permanent and sustainable. We think it's about the food. This is what it's really about. Because when you get to the other side of these triggers, you are going to be able to proactively work through those unhealed wounds. You actually build a new narrow pathway in your brain. This is where you build resilience in your body and your brain. This right here is where it starts. You want to talk about sustainability and effortless and predictability versus I just have to go on another diet. It is this. It is the uncomfortable truth. Let's recap your game plan to address these triggers. Number 1, stop and acknowledge your trigger. Number 2, explore the trigger. Number 3, change your perspective with other people. Number 4, create a plan. And number 5, take responsibility. Can you think about what that would look like to enjoy the holiday season, to witness the family drama without any kind of emotional trigger on your part? Can you think about what that would look like to enjoy the holiday season and not turn to food to self-soothe your emotions? Can you think about what January is going to look like with no regrets from this holiday season? I want that for you. And that's exactly why you are in the right place to make it happen. If you've been listening today and you're curious about your triggers and you want to get into the psychology behind your emotional eating, I have something for you I think you're going to find interesting. You could take a 2-minute quiz, and on the other side, you are going to get a comprehensive emotional eating psychological profile. I created this after analyzing 1,791 cravings profiles. It is so accurate on the other side. Women reach out and they tell me this profile knows more about them. It knows more about their deep, dark eating secrets than their bestie. I'm going to leave a link in the show notes, or you can DM me on Instagram at holly.bertone, Bertone, holly.bertone on Instagram. DM me the word quiz, and I will send it right over. My friend, you deserve a holiday season with no regrets. It's time to do this once and for all, and with a proven system that's designed for your busy life. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Holly Bertone, your emotional eating profiler and coach, and this is Weight Loss Forensics.